up, guys? EJ here, back with another video. And today is going to be my weekly movie review roundup, episode 20. So I've got 6 new movies to talk about this week. Starting off with last Tuesday, April 12th, I watched The Big Short, directed by Adam McKay, who co-wrote the screenplay. Starring Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, Steve Carell, and Christian Bale. Yeah, sort of comedic drama about the economic collapse and the housing market collapse in the mid-2000s, which culminated in 2008. Christian Bale plays a doctor of a who manages sort of a investment firm, and he sort of predicts this economic crisis and decides he's going to bet against the banks, bet against the American public paying off their mortgages, and he's going to predict the fall of the American economy and the housing market, all that kind of stuff. He goes to the big banks and takes out these credit swap loans or whatever. Ryan Gosling is one of these guys who works there. He sort of narrates the film. Steve Carell is a manager of a very headstrong manager of one of these investment bank hedge funds, whatever, and his team also sort of catch wind of what's going on, and they also start buying up all these credit swaps. At first, because they'd start doing this in like 06, 07, and nothing happens, and they have to keep paying all this money to the bank before they eventually can cash in once the market collapses. There's a couple young guys who get in on the act, and Brad Pitt helps them out. He's a former Wall Street broker who's sort of away from the game, but he helps these 2 young guys out. Steve Carell's really good. Great performance by him. Really headstrong, but he believes he has a sort of naivety to him that's really kind of sweet and touching, but he's just like in shock at what's happening. Ryan Gosling's good. Film's very technical if you don't really understand high finance and the stock market and the housing crisis, all that kind of stuff. I'm not that familiar with it. I'm not going to pretend that I know that shit very well. But they make it fun, especially like when they have like just random people just explain it to you. I especially like the moment where what's the name? Margot Robbie is sitting naked in the bath, shipping champagne, and she's explaining to you what's really going on in sort of layman's terms, so that the audience can understand it. Good, witty script. Good performances all around. Like I said, Steve Carell, Christian Bale, excellent. Ryan Gosling and Brad Pitt. So The Big Short, one of the best movies of the year, up there with Spotlight and films like that. Trumbo and Steve Jobs, those kind of movies. I really enjoyed it. The Big Short, I gave a 8 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Wednesday, April 13th, I watched Brooklyn. Directed by John Crowley. Nick Hornby wrote the screenplay, which I found interesting. Of course, Brooklyn, starring Saoirse Ronan, who plays a Irish girl called Ailish. Film takes place in 1952. She's a young Irish girl who moves from Ireland to New York City to work. And she goes there sort of to seek adventure and the American dream, that kind of thing. She lives in a boarding house that's run by Julie Walters, and Jim Broadbent plays the local Irish priest, Father Flood, who helps her out when she gets homesick, which he does early on. Early on, she's working at a department store, which she really doesn't like that much. She's not very confident at her job, and her boss sees this sort of straight away. So yeah, she's homesick, but eventually she meets a young Italian guy, and of course Irish and Italians aren't very on very good terms at this point in the 1950s. The Italians are supposed to hate the Irish, so they form a friendship and a romantic relationship. But the death of her older sister back in Ireland forces Ailish to go back home to Ireland for her sister's funeral and to comfort their mother because their mother is now all alone. Her sister was a golf pro. There's a lot of talk of her and her golfing exploits. There, she's sort of pigeonholed into working back at the old shop, grocery shop where she worked at, but her real talent lies in accounting. And also, her mother is trying to fix her up with a proper Irish lad, played by Domhnall Gleeson. Um, yeah, it's a good film. Very good performance by Saoirse Ronan. She's a lovely, lovely actress. Really tailor made for this role, obviously. Yeah, I didn't think it was great though. I thought the second half of the film wasn't as good as the first half, when basically everybody at home in Ireland is trying to get her to stay, and she's already engaged to this Italian guy, and she doesn't tell anybody. And basically, all she wants to do is eventually go back to New York, where her new life is. She's got a lot of confidence from going out with this guy, and she's really good at her job now and all that kind of stuff. But it's a really good looking movie, really good performance by Saoirse Ronan. Brooklyn, I gave a 7 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to Thursday, April 14th. I watched Selfless, directed by Tarsem Singh. Yeah, starring Ryan Reynolds. Ben Kingsley plays a dying real estate mogul who decides to transfer his consciousness into another body before his death. Yeah, he's in New York, dying of cancer or something, and this wealthy guy goes down to New Orleans, where Matthew Good runs this facility, some sort of shady company that's dabbling in genetics and transferring consciousness of people into other human bodies, and it's not really on the up and up. But Ben Kingsley obviously does this, and the new body that his consciousness inhabits is, of course, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds wakes up as Ben Kingsley, basically, and but straight away he sort of gets flashbacks of Ryan Reynolds' old life, and he was a former Marine or something, presumed dead in either Afghanistan or Iraq, killed in one of those wars. So he starts having these weird visions straight away of this former life, of Ryan Reynolds' life, where he's married with a young daughter. The wife is played by Natalie Martinez. So basically, he starts taking all these pills, these drugs that Matthew Good gives him every week. So eventually, these old memories will fade away, and it will simply be Ben Kingsley's mind in Ryan Reynolds' body. But Ryan Reynolds doesn't really go along with the plan. He sort of seeks out this old life that Ryan Reynolds used to live, and that's where he runs into the wife and the young girl. Meanwhile, Matthew Good sends his henchmen after him. One of them is played by Derek Luke, and basically the whole movie is a chase movie. Ryan Reynolds escaping with the wife and the young girl, trying to explain to this woman who he really is, and how is it that this woman's husband, who she believes is dead, is alive but doesn't have the same mind that her former husband did. Yeah, it's a good sort of action sci-fi thriller, interesting movie for Tarsem Singh. He's usually a lot more visual in his movies. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. I've always liked Ryan Reynolds. Ben Kingsley's only in it at the beginning. You don't see him after the first couple of scenes. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds carries the movie well. Yeah, not great, not perfect. but I enjoyed it. So Selfless, I gave a 7 out of 10. Alright, moving on to Friday, April 15th. I watched Sisters, directed by Jason Moore, of course starring Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Yeah, they play two sisters who go go down to Florida because their parents are selling their family home, the home they grew up in, and they decide to throw one last huge party to celebrate, even though they're kind of pissed about losing their childhood home. Tina Fey is sort of a wreck as a woman. She's a single mother who has no place to live. She doesn't have a steady job. She was known as a big party girl back in high school. Amy Poehler is the complete opposite. She's very sensible, very responsible, and very hasn't done anything wrong really in her life. Hasn't done all the wild and crazy shit that her sister Tina Fey has been up to. Their parents, played by James Brolin and Diane Wiest. But this film is one big party movie basically, and I thought early on it's kind of sad watching all these 40-year-olds party like they're in high school. But the party gets pretty wild, and there's some good scenes, and there's some good people who show up in the movie. John Leguizamo plays a guy from high school that they know. John Cena plays a drug dealer who has some pretty funny moments. Yeah, usual regulars that show up in Tina Fey, Amy Poehler universe. People like Maya Rudolph plays Tina Fey's old high school rival, who she won't let into the party, and Rachel Dratch, of course, SNL alum, is in the movie as well. Yeah, kind of disappointing because I really enjoyed Tina Fey. I've always liked her. Amy Poehler, not as much. I'm just not really a fan. It's, yeah, like I said, it's one big party movie, and like I said, it's kind of sad watching all these 40-year-olds try and party like they're back in high school. But it has its moments. It's got a good heart, obviously, and Tina Fey. I just didn't really buy Tina Fey as the party girl. She's good, obviously, and she always is. Loads of fun, but I just didn't really buy her as the party girl in this movie. But it's still a fun movie. So Sisters, I gave a 6 out of 10. Alright guys, moving on to Saturday, April 16th, I watched 2 Days in the Valley, which I reviewed for the Movie Reviewers 100 on yesterday. So if you want to check out my review of that video, I won't go into much detail about it now. But we're doing Charlize Theron week, so I watched 2 Days in the Valley, one of her first movies. Big fan of that film, directed by John Hertzfeld. Yeah, like I said, starring Charlize, James Spader, great, Denny Aiello, Eric Stoltz, Jeff Daniels, Terry Hatcher. Yeah, check out my review of 2 Days in the Valley in the link in the description. All right, moving on. Finally, last night, Sunday, April 17th, last and definitely least, I watched Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. Yes, I've seen all the Alvin and the Chipmunk movies, and I hate my life, obviously. Not a fan of these movies at all. But I like Jason Lee, and the sad part is, I don't remember a film in recent years that wasn't a Chipmunk movie starring Jason Lee. The poor guy was great in those early Kevin Smith films. Great sort of sardonic wit, and just a good actor, and he's just been mired, and I don't know what he's been doing, but it's enough already with the Chipmunk movies. Of course, Justin Long voices Alvin, but you can't tell it's Justin Long. I like the female cast who do the female voices of the female Chipmunks. You've got Christina Applegate, Kaylee Cuoco, and Anna Faris, and those are all three good actresses that I like and enjoy watching. I'd much rather see all three of them in the movie together as regular human people than as female chipmunks who are barely in this movie. But in this movie, Jason Lee has a new girlfriend, and she has a teenage son. The son doesn't get along with the Chipmunks at first, with Alvin, what's his name, Simon and Theodore. They hate each other, but they soon realize that maybe Jason Lee's character Dave is going to Miami for business, because he's like promoting Bella Thorne as a singer or some kind of shit. Bella Thorne plays a singer in this movie, and so yeah, Dave is going down to Miami, and Alvin and the Chipmunks think that maybe he's going to propose to this new girlfriend. So they want to go stop him, because they don't want to become brothers with this new teenage guy that they all hate. So of course they go on a road trip and a road trip and get into all sorts of shenanigans. Tony Hale from Veep plays a air marshal who's hell bent on bringing down the Chipmunks. So he has a couple fun moments. But yeah, like I said, not really a fan of the Chipmunk movies because the songs are awful. I can't listen to those songs, man. I mean, you can sort of make out the lyrics, but it's really annoying. Those Chipmunk voices doing modern songs. They do that Uptown Funk song, which is a good song, but that's sort of the hallmark of the movie. It's an okay movie, but like I said, not a fan of the Chipmunk movies. Pretty much hated all of them, and this one was no different. So Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip, I gave a 4 out of 10. So there you have it, 6 movies this week. Let me know what you think of these movies, if you've seen them, obviously. Thank you for watching as always, and until next time, I'll see you.
Bond. James Bond.